Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go through some example problems on how to solve using our cosine. All right, how to find the value. Well, essentially using inverse relationship. And so when you have this, okay, if we have arc sine of 0, you have to remember that when you have arc sine, is that y equals sine of x, and y equals arc sine of x, or any type of arc sine. This also means the inverse of sine of x. So how do inverse relate? Once again, just real quick refresher. This right here, we know that we plug in an angle, we get out a ratio. The question here is that when you have an arc sine, it's the opposite. So we plug in a ratio and we get out an angle. Now, if you watch my other videos, you see that arc sine is going to be in the first or fourth quadrant. And so when we say arc sine of 0, you have to think of yourself, okay, on the coordinate on a unit circle, where is sine 0? Well, right here at this point, we have 1, 0 on the unit circle. Sine is the y value, so what we know is that sine of 0 is actually equal to the 0 angle, 0 in radians, because we're looking for what is the angle that we give out. So this is the angle. So remember, these are the ratios, and we're trying to find the angles. So when is our cosine equal to 0? Well, our cosine, if you recall, is in the first and second quadrant, okay? And where is that going to be 0? Well, right here, we have 0, 1. 0 is going to be our value, so it's going to be pi over 2, or 90 degrees, okay? 90 degrees for that one. We have arctangent of square root of 3. Well, without a calculator, we know that arctangent is going to be in the first or the fourth quadrant. All right, right here. This is positive, so obviously it has to be right there. Arctangent is going to be opposite square of 3 and 1 and 2. What's opposite square of 3? We know that's going to be pi over 3, or 60 degrees. Arc sine, once again, arc sine, we're looking for the angle. Square root of 2 over 2 is pretty much the 45 degree. Sine is either in the first or fourth quadrant, okay, for arc sine. And so down here, this is negative, so the sine y is negative down here in the fourth quadrant. So we're going to have is negative pi over 4. Or we could say negative 45 degrees, okay, because that's going to have a ratio of negative 1, 1, and radical 2. That's how we get that. Arctangent of negative 1, once again, arctangent is in the first or fourth quadrant. Tangent negative 1, what's going to be down here? And we have negative 1, 1, and radical 2. Arctangent, that's where we have that. So once again, it's going to be negative pi over 4, or negative 45 degrees. Seeing this again, arc sine, that's in the first, that's a 45, so that's pi over 4. All right, and you can see these are going to be relatively easier as we go through. Arctangent, once again, think about arctangent, either in the first or the fourth quadrant. All right, and this is negative, so this will be down here. How do we get that? This is where sometimes students get a little confused. This is actually 1 over the square root of 3. And so when we write our angle, we have opposite negative 1. This is radical 3, and then 2. Our tangent is going to be what's opposite that. That's going to be negative pi over 6, or negative 30 degrees. Okay, and then finally, when is our cosine equal to 1? Well, 1 is equal to 1, once again, first or second quadrant, and what we have right there, 1, 0. So when is our cosine equal to 1? Well, right there at 0 radians, or 0 degrees, and that's how we go about doing that. So finding values without your calculator, essentially you have to remember, you're given the ratio, what is the angle? And whenever we're doing this, all right, it's important to remember that little concept, and also where the range of our values are going to be. Okay, for sine, first and fourth, cosine, first and second, and tangent, first and fourth as well. Okay, well, good luck and bless, and the rest of your problems.